Well, let's take a quick stock as to how Monday went by for global markets and how markets have opened this Tuesday morning. We look at US first. All three benchmark indices in the US fell over 1% each, primarily driven by the Omicron fear. The virus is spreading sharply in the US with cases now in 43 out of the 50 states, and reopening trades were the key points of sell-off within the larger market. The Dow has fallen 1.25% to start the week off, with the S&P 500 also down almost 1.1%, plus the Nasdaq is down 1.25% as well. Mind you, the Nasdaq is down over 3% now month to date, so it's all set to close this month on a losing streak. Moving on to Europe. European markets too closed lower as largely driven by, of course, the Omicron scare as well. The World Health Organization recently warned that the number of cases is now doubling in 1.5 to 3 days in areas which already have a community spread. Netherlands went into a lockdown till the 14th of January, and a strict one there. And those kind of cues are supporting the negative vibes coming out of markets in Europe. The DAX was down almost 1.9%, the FTSE down almost 1%, the CAC was down over 4/5%, and the stock 600 too was down almost 1.4% in trade to start this week off. Asia didn't look pretty either. Asia was down 2% yesterday. The Nikkei was down 2% yesterday. The Shanghai was down over 1%. The Hang Seng was almost down 2%. Across the board, indices were seeing red, including India. However, Tuesday has opened up with a fresh new start, and Asia is looking in the green for starters. So the Nikkei has opened over 2% higher in early trade as we speak. The Shanghai, the Hang Seng, as well as the ASX 200 are all over 1/4 to 1/3% higher in early trade today, with the Kospi 2 up in that region. When you look at the SGX Nifty, good positive cues, up almost 1% in early trade today. So good positive cues coming out at the moment. When you look at it with regard to futures, the Dow Futures is up 0.5%. So are the S&P 500 futures, as well as the Nasdaq futures up almost 3/4%. So reversal of sentiment happening in early trade this Tuesday morning. When we look at commodities, well, those were beaten down yesterday, largely driven, of course, by Omicron fears as well. So oil was down over 3% and is now at almost the $68 a barrel mark. Gold prices eased as well. Gold is now at $1,792 an ounce in early trade today. When I look at the dollar index is just below that 96.5 mark, so that's shaved off around 10 to 15 basis points over yesterday. So there's a little bit of selling happening in the dollar, but the 10-year treasury yields have risen around 2 basis points to that 1.42, just below that mark. And crypto, which is of course going to be in focus given the way central banks are handling their policies, it's just above that 46,500 mark, which is Bitcoin is just above the US dollar 46,500 mark. That's a roundup of global markets as well as commodities and crypto from our side this Tuesday morning.